was very humbling to be within those guys and that level of skill. I was the worst shooter in that class. And I'm like, wow, there's a lot of work to do. So now it's just treated that way. I go on my own, I go to my own level of skill, and I try to do the best that I can to accomplish a good run, a good stage, and then you slowly start growing, right? Because you can't just go and try to go fast and and try to be the best, because then you won't. You'll just crash and burn.
Welcome to the Big Texas Hornets podcast. I am Ike. We have Chris, Tara, and our guest today is Santiago.
Thank you for having me, man.
Coast to Coast Tactical.
Yep.
Or I guess Santi. We're on an informal basis.
Yeah, we're friends
here,
now.
So we're all friends here. So.
Nobody's
Friends,
in
family,
trouble.
they call me Santi. Nobody's in trouble.
Nobody's in trouble.
Santiago. No. What would I do?
But yeah, so he's down here teaching a class tomorrow at BTO range.
And Sunday.
And Sunday. Yeah, two classes back to back.
Separate?
Separate.
Yeah, they're
Two different classes?
completely, yeah, it's just one-day classes. I like to divide them that way because sometimes I get people who are very, very new, and I don't like them going to the next day and then stalling the whole, the class.
Yeah.
So I just try to keep it that way first,
What are you teaching?
So Saturday I'm teaching intro to fundamentals, just basic stuff, like grip sights, trigger, how to be efficient with those. And then the next day I'm teaching intro to performance, which is kind of the same thing as the first day, but enhancing speed, right? Like just doing everything from the holster, going from the draw, and how to find those index points to actually execute at a higher rate.
Cool.
Yeah,
So we were talking about it a little bit earlier, but we want to share it with the audience, of course. What's your background? Because you got an interesting background on how you kind of got into shooting. So how start there? How'd you get into shooting?
Okay, so I've always liked guns, right? I've always had BB guns and stuff like that when I was young, and I wanted to be a SWAT guy. Like I wanted to be a law enforcement officer, but I just never thought of going to the academy or anything like that. That's when I was young, and then my parents never liked firearms. They were like, "Yeah, we don't. As long as you live under my roof, you're not gonna have any guns." I'm like, "All right, cool." So. It's going to seem surprising, but my first firearm I bought in California. So I went to California for work. So I started acting and moved to California. I lived there for a while. In 2015, I bought my first gun for home defense. I had no idea how to use it or nothing. I would just go to the range and do what everybody does, just stand on the line, load, and just try to get the X, taking all my time. And I would do like every other month, right? COVID happened, all this stuff happened, and then I moved back to Florida. And then Florida, it's like madness with guns. It's like freedom, So I see all my friends and all these guys that I started to meet because of social media, and we're creating content, and I see suppressors. Like for me, guns used to be, I thought it was Glock, Smith & Wesson, Walther, and 6 out. Like I was like, yeah, those are guns. That's it. But then I started seeing like how big the industry is and how many products are there and all these different accessories and stuff, that it was just like mind blown. So I started getting into the whole content creation stuff, just photos and just reviewing things. And I met this one guy, Max. He introduced me to the whole practical things. So we started going to the range together at an outdoor range, and then he started making me do drills from the holster, like transitions, control attack, because he's taking classes with JJ Rakaza and a bunch of other people. So he was teaching me all the stuff that he's learned, and I'm like, whoa, this is incredible. Like I want to do this, So I started telling him, dude, you have to bring me every time you come. Like I want to do this. So I went deep in that rabbit hole. Then I took my first class ever, 2021. November 2021, I took my first class with Joe Farewell, Donovan Moore, and Velox. He taught rifle. Joe taught two-gun, and Donovan taught from concealment, just pistol. So I had the best of the three things out in one weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I'm like, dude, this is awesome. Like it was like, that's when I decided, I'm like, I gotta do this. Like I want to do this for sure. I started, going to the range. I started taking a lot more classes. That's how I also got into I took class with Rick Crawley from Achilles Heel. I took a class with Modern Samurai Projects. That was back in the day. And it was just so much, like, just letting it all sink in, right? And I loved it, dude. That's kind of how I got into shooting. And when I said I went to a rabbit hole, I was shooting maybe 2,000 or 3,000 rounds a week. Like, I was going like mostly every day because I worked from home. I did a lot of social media marketing for a company in California, so I had a lot of free time because we were in the California schedule. So I started working from 9 to 5, which is noon to like 8, 9 p.m. So I had all the morning for myself. So I would wake up early, go to the range until like 11ish, and I would just go and shoot.
So what made you decide to go from, participant to instructor?
So when I took my CCW class, like everybody, when they buy a gun, it's, to protect themselves, right? I want to get a gun to protect myself. When I did that course, I felt like there was a lack of instruction. There was basically like, okay, here's the movie. This is the law. This is what you do. This is how you pull the trigger, and that's it. Just point in a safe direction, and you're good. I'm like, yeah, this is not gonna. I didn't even shoot. Like, you were like you're supposed to shoot at least like 5 to 10 rounds,
right?
Just to make sure you know how to pull the trigger. I didn't even do that because the line was so long. It was 25 people in a classroom, and then we will close in the range. We had to make a line. I'm like, dude, I don't want to do this, and they just gave me my diploma, my certificate. So for me, that was like, that's insane. Like, this has got to change, like, so I started taking a lot more classes, and like I saw how. So now when I take a class, I take it more as an instructor base. Like, okay, how do they teach? How are they teaching things? What's their curriculums? Like, how are they, how are they how are they communicating their techniques and all this other stuff? And it's very interesting how everybody has their own way to teach the same thing, but they just come up with their own terms, and they come up with like their own names for classes, and it's fascinating, and I loved it. And then I started teaching my friends first. Like, we will go to the range. I'll have them, bring their guns and stuff, and I'll teach them how to shoot what I knew at the time. And I see a lot of improvement within a couple of hours. And I'm like, dude, this is great. Like, I love this. Like, I like, for me, it's very like passionate to see somebody that come from how they came into a class to how they leave. It's fulfilling. It's like, it's good, and they feel good because they see the improvement throughout the class. So they always want to come back. So I feel like I do have a good thing going on. I enjoy it, and you know how people say, like, if you enjoy what you do, it never becomes a job. That's
exactly.
Right around, so.
That's cool.
Yeah, so that's actually why I'm taking your class on Sunday.
Let's go.
To see how you how you do it. What does Santi do that's different from everybody else?
Yeah. Well, I like it. I like to make it fun. I have a curriculum, but it's never the same because I always try to accommodate different the people who are in the class.
Yeah, it's really hard to have a set curriculum when you don't know exactly what proficiency levels are going to be attending or who you're going to have in the class.
So I like to just keep an open book and see, what we're going to do. I know what the points that I want to hit and how am I going to get there, right? So it's going to be fun. There's only a few people there, but that's, for me, it's better because now I can actually have one-on-one time with everybody. And I know for a fact that you're going to leave with a lot of information out of that class. So.
Well, the good thing is now that you've come, or once you've come and, everybody's taken the class and, they're going to tell their friends. So when you make it back to Texas next time, your class will be a lot fuller.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I've always thought about it like an investment, right? Like, I just started teaching a year ago, like a year and a half ago. And, a lot of people didn't want to take my class because, what's your background? Well, I'm like, just civilian. I want a law enforcement officer or an ex-military dude, So it's hard to get into that industry when you don't have that background.
Well, even a lot of ranges won't let, outside instructors come in to teach. That's one of the reasons that I'm really happy that I work for BTO, because we actually talked about that.
We talked about this, yeah. So I've been trying to find a range out here to come and teach because I have some people that, they always, Santi, when are you coming to Texas? I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know where to shoot. So I reached out to a bunch of places, and they're like, oh, yeah, we don't do outside instructors. So I'm like, okay, this is over. I'm not doing it anymore. And then, and then I found you guys and I reached out. I'm like, hey, you guys do something? Yeah, let's go. I'm like, oh my God, it's so great. So the fact that you guys are open to that, it's amazing, because not just that, you bring people from like that maybe don't know like the range here that come from the instructors, but also it's like you give us an in, and I really appreciate that, because you guys are all up for it. So it's important for the community, just even for myself, to be able to grow, to have people like you guys.
Yeah. Well, it definitely.
lend me the hand. And,
Yeah, it definitely benefits the range, but it's also, like you said, a service to the community.
Yeah,
we want to make
100%.
sure that our community has access to the best,
Yeah.
instruction there is.
yeah.
Well, if you hit the instruction with the same energy that you put off here, which I'm sure you do, it's going to be a good class. 'Cause
Oh, yeah.
Like I don't know if it's bleeding through to the audience through video but Santi, you put off an energy, and you can tell you really, really enjoy this.
Yeah, man, I love this. So, like, dude, I only have a couple people right in the class, and I'm just as stoked that, like, if I would have 20 people.
Oh yeah.
Because I know it's like this is like a long process. It's like building a company. When you build a company, it's you have those first couple of years that it's a hustle. You gotta like really work your way in. You gotta show them who you are, what you're capable of, and then they will go out and be like, oh yeah, I took a class with Santi, and he's great. You should take a class.
Yeah.
So next time I come, I know I won't have 8, but I'll have maybe 15.
Yeah.
And so on. And people who've been doing this for a while, for years, that's probably how they grew, right? So yeah, man, I'm super stoked just to have the opportunity to be here and show what I'm able to do, and maybe help some people learn some stuff, man.
That's awesome. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now I wish I would have scheduled Sunday.
Yeah,
I'm like trying to
There's still spots available.
How angry do we want
How
to
much
make?
trouble am I going to be in?
How angry do I want to make my wife right now? Because I'm doing a Veterans Day road march tomorrow, so I'm already done for half the weekend.
Yeah.
I probably won't be able to walk tomorrow afternoon, so it feels like that, everyone. But yeah, man, Saturday and Sunday sounds good. I wish we could put this. That's the bad thing about having a new instructor
Yeah.
on the podcast, is we can't get the podcast out fast enough for it to have any effect on this batch of signups, right?
Yeah.
But we talked about it earlier. You're coming back to Texas for the Texas State Match.
So I was going to talk to you about it.
Yeah.
While we're here.
So me and a buddy of mine, we're coming to shoot the Texas State for USPSA. It's a little bit south of Houston, but it's everything. I don't mind driving a couple of hours. So I was going to tell you, maybe, the match is on Friday, April 25th. So I was, thinking of coming Saturday, Sunday, just like today.
Yeah, let me look at the calendar, and
Yeah,
I'm sure. I think April's pretty good. We'll get you in there.
Still a couple months out.
Yeah.
So that transitions to my next question perfectly. When did you go from shooting with your buddies on the weekend, training, and you're like, okay, now I'm going to make the leap to USPSA?
So I first started with IDPA, right? Because I thought it was slower, a lot of old people there. Don't get me, I love you guys. But it was just a lot slower, right? So for me, it was kind of a way to kind of learn a similar way to running and like shooting and moving, and like looking for a way to shoot a stage or whatever, even though they have a lot more rules than USPSA. But, I went to my first match and I did pretty well in IDPA. So I was like, okay, this is cool. I can do this, right? And I associated USPSA to the same, level of difficulty that it was IDPA. I'm like, oh, I can do this. I did pretty good. I can probably do good there. Yeah, it's not going to happen. It was completely different. It's very, very hard to shoot at the level that these guys shoot. Like I went to my first USPSA match I did. I actually went in and very confident, and I got destroyed by kids. And I'm like, yeah, this is not going to work. I need to work on this. So that's when I started, like, I need to work on, like, shooting and moving and all these USPSA things. So I have my friend Buck and I will just, train. Every once in a while, we'll get together in the range and we start doing exercises that he learned from, like, other instructors, like JJ Racasa, Juan C. Kim, like the confirmation levels and all this stuff. That it's very important in it blends in well with the whole competitive shooting. And I did my first USPSA. My second USPSA match was actually like a year and a half later than my first one, because I just knew it wasn't going to work. Then I started doing classes with. I did a class with Eric Grauffel. I don't know if you know who he is. He's the best in the world. He's been world champion 27 years in a row. And he's a French guy. He just comes here and destroys everybody and dips. He actually got national. He won. He was it's insane how he shoots. So we took. There was a bunch of us taking a class with him. Like, even the people that I take their classes. Like, the instructors that I go with. Like, they went to the class. They were students with me at the class. So it was very humbling to be within those guys. And that level of skill. I was the worst shooter in that class. And I'm like, wow, there's a lot of work to do. So now it's just treated that way. I go on my own, I go to my own level of skill, and I try to do the best that I can to accomplish a good run, a good stage. And then you slowly start growing, right? Because you can't just go and try to go fast and try to be the best, because then you won't. You will just crash and burn. So to have a really good how do I say this, like a good way to figure out where you are is to go into like a big match, like a level 2 match, level 3 match, and just shoot to your capabilities, right? Don't push it, just shoot normal, and then you see where you place within the pack with all these guys. And that's how you're like, okay, I'm shooting 60% of the best of the best. I got work to do. Even when you're like, oh, I shot 80%, like, there's a lot of work to do, because the closer you get to the top, the harder it starts getting to literally shrink. Like, even when you're at 90%, to shoot like 97, 98% from the best, it's just insanely hard. And it's a lot of dedication. So I know there's this one police, this one cop, Eric Shaw. He's an active cop. And he shoots from retention holster, and he's like one of the best in the country. I'm not even.
So one of the guys you were talking about earlier?
No, this
guy.
No, this is another dude. This guy is just insane.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and he took the class with Eric Grauffel, and he was right next to me. I didn't know who he was, and I was like, okay, this is he's a cop. I wasn't expecting to be fat, So he just pulled up his gun and started shooting. His groups were like this at 25 yards. And I'm like, dude, that's insane. Like, how is, it's crazy. I want to be there.
Yeah, I can't even imagine trying to shoot a match from like a level 3.
Yeah.
Like, even if it adds a 1/10 of a second to your draw, that's an overall match time. If you do 10 stages, you've now added a second, and you haven't even fired a round to your time, and that's huge when it comes to like a really high level USPSA match.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's crazy, because if you think about it, it's not, so the shooting is no longer like an issue. It's other things that come into play, like stage planning, like how to be efficient on a stage, how to run, how to, where are you going to do your reload? Like, how am I shooting you? How is that transition from this target to this one? And all those little things, they add up, and they add up to where in a full stage, it could be like, a whole second.
Yeah.
Right.
Even more, like even 2 seconds.
Yeah, the shooting is just a small portion of it. Like, figuring out how to move and where to move and
how to enter
I struggle with that.
It is just a lot of things in your mind, going like the whole plan that you do, and the whole, like, the level of skill, like the faster you register, right? Because when you're shooting fast and you're not used to going that fast, and you don't know what you're looking for, right? Until you start doing it in practice and you start getting used to that speed, then it becomes normal. But then it's not normal, because if you compare yourself to where you are now to where you were, like maybe 6 months earlier, you see a substantial difference. And that's when I tell people, you got to enjoy the process. You can't push it. You can't compare yourself with like people who've been doing this for a while, because then you're just always going to crash. You're always going to, like, not crash, but like you're always going to put yourself down. So I always feel like everybody has their own path, and it takes longer for other people, and just enjoy it, enjoy the process, and learn.
What setup are you running right now? What's your go-to gun?
So I have a Walther PDP, the steel frame, and I have the Apex from Tier 1 Concealed. I love that holster because it's very. So I run from concealment. So I run matches from concealment. I don't use the OWB stuff because I believe in like why we go back to like why am I carrying a gun, right? I carry a gun to protect myself and my loved ones, and by shooting competition like this, it is allowed. It just put me in a place where I feel so much confident.
Oh, yeah.
Like if I can do that in a stage, like I know for a fact I can defend myself in a scenario where like hope to God it doesn't happen ever, but I know what I'm capable of. So I choose that holster because it's very modular. You can literally turn some screws and adjust it the way you want to. Like if you only have one holster and you want to conceal, you want to run it for every day, you can loosen up the mag pouch and you can just push it in and it conceals. But then if you wanted to go for competition, you can loosen up those screws again and push it back up. Now it shows more, so it's angled. So when you reload, it's easier to grab the gun. It's awesome. Donovan actually came up with that idea with the guys on Tier 1, and dude, I think it was spot on to what we needed to, because usually the mags are pointing up. This one you can either have it up, you can tilt it, you can push it out, you can do whatever. So it's pretty awesome. So that's my setup.
They've been putting out good stuff
Yeah.
for a
optic you
long
run
time.
Huh?
What optic do you use?
Oh, I was just gonna say that. I run the XL from Vortex.
Okay.
Yeah, I love that thing. First when I spoke to them, I'm like, yeah, I don't know, because I used to run the ST because I like the smaller dot, but I have astigmatism, so I see the light very.
Yeah.
That's what my wife had. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
so
just like a starburst.
I never thought about going for a 5 because theirs just is big, But then I gave it a shot. They were like, yeah, let's, we'll send you one. Try it on. Just try it and let us know how it feels. I'm like, okay, cool. The window is huge, so it's perfect. And I can dim the dot down to where I can still see a solid dot and I don't see a burst. So I feel like I like the 5 now more than I used to like my 2 MOA. So that's what I run.
That's why I like the hollow sun dots.
Yeah.
That's why I'm a huge fan of the hollow sun dots, is because I have an astigmatism and they are so freaking clean. Just how they project the whatever they do to project the dot on the glass works for me.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah. I run
They're
the 507
super clean.
comp.
Yeah, they're super clean. I put what was it, a 515 CM, I think, of the rifle, one of their newer rifle optics on that Cobalt build I did.
Oh yeah.
And so it has like the EOTech type reticle in it. That thing is super, super clean. The only thing I don't like about it is it's like the aim point style, so it's like a smaller window.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be hard pressed not to put another one on another build because it's so clean. Because if I look at an EOTech or like my old competition gun, my 34 had a DT Delta Point Pro on it, right?
Oh yeah.
And it's like which one of these like starburst points do I want to pick as my aiming point on it because of my astigmatism?
Yeah.
And with the hollow suns, they don't do that.
I've never tried the 507 comp. I actually heard good things about it, but I feel like the Vortex XL, the window is slightly bigger. It's kind of taller.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, for me, it works better. The dot, what you're saying about the dot with the 5 MOA, it doesn't do that, right? It doesn't. I don't see the burst. With the smaller dot, I did see it, but it wasn't because like the glasses, whatever. It's because of like I use glasses for everything, and I will put the brightness very high so I can actually see it in the sun. But then that's when I start seeing the burst.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, astigmatisms are hard to deal with. I just thought for a long time that EOTechs weren't clean.
Yeah.
And then I realized that I don't see them how they actually are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they are clean,
Yeah.
but it's just my eyes that are jacked up.
Yeah.
Supposedly the green doesn't give you that.
I don't.
Really?
I don't know. I've heard that. I've never
People
tried a
say
green
that,
dot.
but I don't agree. For me, it doesn't.
Stills?
Yeah.
I've heard both
Yeah,
ways.
I like the
I
red.
can't speak to it because I don't
Yeah,
have
me too.
astigmatism, but 3 out of 4 people in this room have astigmatism.
Yeah.
I feel lucky now.
Yeah, your tail lights at night are just crazy.
See, that's the
yeah.
other thing. Like, my wife was always hates driving. Maddie hates driving, and finally, like, there's like a picture on the internet or whatever that shows like what the taillights look like to y'all, I guess. And I was like, man, I don't know how you do it. It's just like starbursts everywhere.
Yeah.
And I had no idea.
All right, so we're not going to talk to Ike anymore.
Yep.
Yeah,
You're
I feel special over here.
Perfect. All right.
Yeah, I can't drive at night without my glasses.
Yeah. Yeah, I always
All I
drive.
see is just lights everywhere.
Yeah, it definitely gets worse if I don't have my contacts in. Glasses aren't as good as my contacts, but yeah, astigmatism is a definite challenge when it comes to red dot. Is that the new Vortex dot that they just came out with?
Yeah, the XL.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do y'all have those at the range?
I think so.
Yeah.
We have. They might be out, but like we've definitely had them. I've definitely seen them when they came in.
We did a video on him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Vortex just doesn't. Those dots don't move as well as like the Trigicons or the Holosuns for us over here. Just
Yeah.
not there yet. And which Walther are you shooting?
The PDP Steel Frame.
Is it the
Match?
The Match one?
Yeah, the long one.
Yeah, those are nice.
Yeah, I run it from concealment, but that's like I only run it for range. I don't carry that. I carry the polymer one, the 4.5. Yeah, because it's the same grip, same thing, just different length and different weight. So
Yeah, same
more
manual of arms
comfortable.
and everything. You know, you get the reps with the better one, and then
yeah,
put on
I
the
mean, no,
concealment.
I get reps with my polymer too. I just like to compete with the heavier one because it just returns to zero faster.
Yeah, it's a lot flatter, I bet.
It's really flat and it's just so comfortable to shoot, and the weight just I don't know. I just love it for competition.
I've got 2 of the what's the ones they just released with the Parker Mountain Machine Comp?
Oh, that's the PDP Pro E, I think it is.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I've got 2 of those on order.
Nice.
I'm going to be really hard pressed not to get them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they look nice. They do look nice. People really talking about them. We need to get one for the. I guess I'll probably end up sending one of those to the range anyway. So, so tier 1, Vortex Optics, Walther PDP.
Yep. And lock grips.
Okay.
Yeah, those things. Have you run them? Have you heard? No. So the standard bogeys, they're very hard. Like they're sharp. So I have a bunch of calluses on my hands because of how much I press to it. But they're perfect because sometimes when it rains, man, or when you're sweating, I use shock, but it comes off right in the middle of a match if you're doing a reload or whatever. It helps you stay on the gun because they're so aggressive, and I love it. The lock grips, standard bogeys, they're good. They also have another ones that are palm swells. They have a little bit of fatness on the sides, so you can put your palms kind of just push in for. They're comfortable, but I'm not used to them.
Yeah.
So I stuck to the other ones.
And you're shooting hot munitions
Hot
too,
munition,
right?
yeah. So I shoot the 147s. I love that ammo, man. It's just very soft. They're 147 poly. It's what I shoot for pretty much everything. Practice, range, my carry ammo for competition. It's very reliable. I've never had any issues with it. So.
And then you said
I like shooting 147s. 124s or 147s.
Yeah, 124 is good. I don't. They're still a little bit. They're still a little spicy.
Yeah.
But they're decent. It's not like 124 grain. It's not bad at all.
And you said we were talking about it earlier too. We were talking about ammo. You went to Ohio Range Day?
I did.
Did you go as an instructor or did you go as a student?
As an attendee. Bless you.
Thank you.
So it was my first time ever going to Ohio Range Day. I've never been, and dude, it was a really good experience. We drove there from Florida.
Oh wow! How far is that?
It was like 18 hours. Yeah, it was gnarly. But we rented a van. It was an experience because it was 4 dudes. We rented a van and we wrote on the windows like, "Oh, free ammo, Venmo us for the bachelorette party, whatever." We got like $10.
Nice.
And then we
That's
drove
hilarious.
all the way up there, and we got an Airbnb. It was a firehouse, like a. It used to be an actual firehouse, and they remodeled it and put like beds and stuff. So you have like the poles. So it was just funny. We did like a mini getaway, ending at the end of the weekend party thing. A bunch of dudes just come in and drink and hang out. But the event itself, it was amazing. It was well organized. I mean, Rick does really, really good on that. A lot of good instructors in there. The brands, the how he does, like to interact with brands, it's epic because it's not just 2 days of training. You have a whole day that you go there on Friday to just see the booth.
Yeah.
You go to the booth, you shoot their products, like you literally see all the stuff that they have, and they have like competitions to win things, and it's fun because it's very interactive. Like for example, Tier 1 in Monsoon, they had a bay and they made a stage. And over 100 people like ran the stage, and it was super fun because you have all these guys from all these different like types of shooting, like tactical things, USPSA stuff, and everybody just went in and shot the stage. So they have a little bit of a taste of like what it feels like. And there was a lot of people, even including one of the guys that came with me, that he's also a cop, and he's like, dude, I like this. I'm like, oh, you got the bug.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, now he's actually going to my classes in South Florida, and he's ready for his first match. I was like, dude, just go and do it. Like there's nothing wrong. If anything, you'll know where you're at, and you have something to work from.
So on that note, like if somebody wanted to never done any kind of competition before, what would your advice be to them if they wanted to get into USPSA?
Just know the rules. Don't touch your gun when they don't tell you. Like just as how to sign in. You go to a practice corps. You look for a local match, local ranges near your area that have USPSA matches. You sign up, and just you have to be mindful of your safety. That's the most important thing. The shooting, the stage itself. Just go and shoot every target, and kind of have fun. And that's ask a lot of questions to the guys who are in your squad. How do you do this? How are you doing it? And they will definitely help you. People in this industry are very helpful. That's one thing that I like about it. You can talk to all these guys, and they'll basically just give you pointers, or they'll teach you, they'll guide you along the way. So it's fun. Just it's a matter of you literally just having the initiative and going, and from there you start hanging out with them. You start seeing like how everything runs, and then you can practice on your own time and kind of, you get the bug, like I said, and then you're just gonna start going every month, every week, or whenever they have the matches there.
Yeah, it's been way too long since I shot a USPSA match, but there, for a while, I was shooting a monthly match, and then doing like a weekly, like a midweek class, and then when I transitioned here, we were shooting. I can't remember if we had a weekly match or a monthly match at Saddle. I don't remember.
There was a monthly match.
It was.
They still I think they have it now. They stopped it for a while. But
Yeah. So I set that up and did that for a while, but I still haven't shot the match over here.
I think I've shot it once or twice. It's just like I just need to make time for it,
Yeah. Well, I'm over there
Yeah.
on Wednesdays, and I shoot it at least I haven't shot it in a while, but I try to do it at least once a month.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys do matches at the range?
Yeah, we do the Texas Outlaw match. We do that every Wednesday.
Oh, that's
They
so
have
cool.
classifiers too.
We do, yeah. Once I think it's the last Wednesday of the month, we do USPSA all classifier.
I need to do a classifier.
Yeah.
Just get ranked.
Yeah, you have to
Figure out
do.
where
I
I'm
think
at.
it's the best of
Like
you got the
5?
best of
10?
8. I
8?
think. So if you're not classified, it's the best 4 of 6. And then after
Then it's
that,
like a rolling.
then
kinda-
after that, they'll take the best 6 of 8
Gotcha.
or 10. No, not sure what it is. Whenever I feel like I know how the classifier system goes, it's just
We change it.
It's not that they change it, but I never learned the actual because everybody have no, that's not gonna count because they have to drop that last one that you did. Oh, okay, cool. So now I'm just counting the other one, and then when I do the math, I'm like, oh yeah, I made it. And then I see the results, and no, they dropped something else. So I'm like, why did this happen? Then I ask somebody else, and they have another explanation. I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm just gonna
go shoot.
I'm just gonna shoot, and whatever happens.
So you in carry optics right now?
I'm in carry optics. Yeah.
I wonder how many people have entered went straight into carry optics in USPSA now. Because I mean, optics we talk about it every time, but you will find probably more optics on pistols nowadays than you would. Well, it depends on like your age group, I guess, probably too.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like,
But,
look at just like with the new, like if you go out and buy again, just whatever it is, Walther, Glock, Sig, HK, like it's probably going to be milled for a red dot at this point in time.
Yeah.
Like Sig actually went away with all because they used to have 365 models and 320s that didn't have, the plate system or whatever. Now I think Sig completely ended all the, at least on the 365 and 320 models. Like you can't get it without a
Without the
optics
plate?
ready.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's smart. So you were saying like a lot of people go into carry optics, right? It's not just carry optics. You can do limited optics, which
Yeah.
is a whole different.
which is
division.
new, right?
It's new. It's like you shoot like 2011s with an optic. So you can't shoot a 2011 and carry optics. So
Oh.
Is there a magazine restriction?
it's not a magazine restriction. It's just I'm not. See, that's the part where I'm like, I don't really know much about it. So I
Yeah.
don't, but I think it's because of they have some standards on. I don't know what the rules are. All I know is that the limited optics is basically just 2011 guns, and you have them with an optic. But I can, if I wanted to shoot a limited optics, I can go with my gun.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't go to carry optics.
You
with
can't
your
go
gun.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm going to look it up now.
Yeah. Now we got to.
The most popular division currently in USPSA is carry optics division.
Yeah. I think it's a really good division to actually like see where you're at because there's so many shooters in there.
Right.
So when you just do a match or whatever and you get ranked, it's like okay, out of like 100
Yeah.
people, it's like okay, I was like 50. Cool.
I'm going to look through. So somebody, Tara, ask a good question while I look and find out. Would I look and find out the actual difference?
We need like
Okay,
on Joe Rogan
divisions.
how they
Okay.
have like the dedicated researcher
who
over
is
there.
Right.
Oh, yeah, that-
Jamie.
Yeah, it pulls it up on the screen and stuff. We need a little.
Okay.
We're not there yet.
So Santi, tell me something that you do in your classes that you don't think that anybody else does. What's yours?
I don't know, man. It's very hard. So most of the classes that I've seen,
Or how do you do things differently? Like what do you do differently or
So, like I said, I don't have I have a curriculum, but it's not dialed in. Like I don't go, word by word of what I say. I know a lot of people do that. I like to go off the students, you
Right.
know. So if I start a certain way to kind of see where everybody's at, and then from there I would just, it goes based on their progress, because I don't want to like give you stuff that I know you're not ready yet, right?
right.
Because it's just like a liability, not just for me, but like for everybody else.
Mhm.
So that's one thing. The other, I have a class in South Florida that it's called drills, and it's just I don't know if you guys get them too, but like, there's a bunch of guys that they just want to shoot,
Right.
right? They don't really care about this is how you grab the drill. They just want to shoot, and they know the basics. They're safe, but they just want to run and gun.
Right.
So I have this class where I just set up stages, and we run the stages a couple times, and I'll give them pointers. So, okay, what did you do there that you didn't do here? I would have done this different. Okay, do you think it's going to be beneficial? We talk about it. We all have like a group conversation, and we run it again the way they wanted to run it, and then we compare times and the hit factor. You know what the hit factor is and stuff, yeah?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So it's time divided by points. So we get the hit factor, we see the difference, and then we see if it was more efficient or if it was not efficient. So it goes more into the competition aspect of it, just because they like running and gunning. But
Right.
I also try to implement a little bit of this so they can learn something new while they're also having fun doing this other thing.
I want to do that when you come back.
Yeah.
I want to do something like that at this time.
So I started buying a bunch of stuff just from my training, but I also like to bring it to the range when I teach a class. Like I have a swinger, I have like a bunch of steel
Yeah.
and little poppers and stuff like that, like activators. I've never really seen people have all those things for a class unless the range provides it.
Right.
I like to bring them all the time when I'm local. I don't know how I'm gonna bring it here, but yeah, that's one of the things that in my local range I don't think anybody's doing.
Yeah. Well, being that we have a match that we run every week, we do have a lot of those things over there at the range.
Okay, well,
that
that's a whole
We don't
different
have-
story.
Like
Well-
we've got poppers. We don't have
we don't have the
Texas
we
Star,
don't have
right?
the
No,
Texas
no.
Star.
You have-
We've
well,
got
you-
some of those things.
Those things are so hard to shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm actually really good at it.
If you shoot it right, it's not that bad.
Yeah. The one thing is, like, you know how, okay, so it's like you can shoot it, right? But then you have a whole stage and they have that incorporated.
Yeah.
Now you have to make a plan, right? And
Yeah.
if you shoot the wrong plate because you didn't mean to shoot that, you're
throw-
done. Like,
yeah.
you gotta
Yeah.
just figure out how to shoot the rest of it, which happened to me the last match that I went. I shot the whole thing, and that one, it just started spinning. And I'm like, oh, my God, dude.
And then it throws off
3
your reload
makeups.
plan and everything,
Yeah.
you know, because you had planned on a certain amount of rounds.
Yeah, so that's exactly what happened. So it took me 3 makeups to get it, and then I ran to my next position, and I'm like, oh, I have to reload.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was my first stage in the match, and I'm like, yeah, I started wrong.
Have you saw the dual
Yeah.
ones that once you
Oh,
start them
snap! So it's
spinning,
like on a.
And they do,
then
yeah,
they
do
start
like that.
doing this. They're spinning, and then they're mounted on arms.
So
And
you got
they-
two
so
Texas
you have
stars like
spinning
but
Yeah.
on an arm.
two different axes.
The
Yeah.
arm is, yeah.
Yeah, the arm. It's nuts.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is
that
that
would,
from TA
haven't-
No.
I don't know who makes it. I just saw it on the internet and I was like, that is evil. Somebody should.
You know what's
should be
evil? They
beat
have
up for
this
that.
swinger. They call it the holy monkey. Have you seen it? So you know how the swinger just goes like this, right?
Yeah.
Well, this one goes, instead of going like this, it goes like this.
oh,
Oh,
Like it's very
no.
unpredictable.
yeah. So you can't
And
predict.
sometimes it just turns like that.
Oh, my God.
It's so hard to shoot it because the only time you can actually shoot it, it's activator and just the first time it goes out. If not, you just gotta like catch it to where you have to wait. You waste so much time just like figuring out where to hit it.
I've always seen those dudes that are like plan the stage. They run over there, shoot the mover to activate it, and then they shoot the rest of the stage and come back and get whatever the thing was swinging because it stopped moving now. But then they have those ones that disappear, right? You've got
Yeah.
the popper that you engage it and
The
it goes
bobbers?
up once
Yeah.
and it goes back down behind a no shoot and you can't shoot it again.
Ah.
Like you have to shoot it on its first rise. That's a mean one. Have you ever saw the one that charges you? If you ever saw the my buddy Jim Shanahan up in Missouri had the one, and it was on like you had to set up a track,
Yeah.
and somebody would hit it, and it was it was 21 feet,
Oh yeah.
and it charged you, and it was fast, and
saw-
like you had to be on it to get it.
Is that the one with the bear?
It
Have you
didn't have a
seen
bear
that?
on it. It was
You
just
could probably
it
put
was
a bear on it.
USPSA target. but
Oh, really? I've never
Yeah.
seen it.
yeah, it was fun.
I've seen some of like the ranges, like kind of like what Saddle has or whatever, with like the track.
Yeah.
And then like the target, you can make it charge you. I
Yeah.
don't know if it is Saddle or somewhere else, another indoor range I shot at, but they had it like where you could. I think it might have been the arms room or something down in like League City. I don't know. Anyways, like you can make like the target retrieval charge you and stuff.
That's crazy.
There's so many things. You always come up with some new thing, some new product that incorporates, in the matches and stuff like that. They always make it more complex and more complex. And it's really hard to keep up.
Yeah.
Because you say, oh, yeah, I know how to shoot swingers. And then they put this thing just moving everywhere. Like, fuck.
But at least if you're shooting a classifier, though, if I'm still, I mean, they could have changed it. Because apparently they've changed all the divisions. I have no idea how it's set up now, even though I looked at it. But, like, I don't think there's any movers on any of the classifiers. It's all either steel and regular targets because everybody's got to be able to set up the same
Yeah.
classifier
Yeah. So,
in the same distance and have the same equipment, I think.
yeah, I've never seen a mover in a classifier. I don't know them all.
I don't think
But
there is.
all the classifiers that I've done is just static. Either they're static, there's one that you do movement, but the targets are just there.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're very standard, I guess. There's some people who reach a certain level of like their class, in USPSA through just shooting classifiers. I don't believe in that. I like when, like you can get your first classification from a classifier, right? But I think the right way to do it is shooting matches that are counted as like a classifier, like level 2s or level 3s, and your match performance counts as a classifier. If the certain things are met, like 3 GMs in the classification, they have to shoot. There have to be 50 people or more, I think, and then also those 3 GMs have to perform at a 95 or better, 95%. And that it will start counting as a classifier. Like I went and shot Area 6 and I shot what was the second one that I shot? Georgia State. And those two counted as a classifier. So it goes into my record and it adds in the percentages of my classification. So there is a way to reach a class while you're actually doing it by match performance.
Yeah.
Because you can be a really good static shooter and get like, all these classifications and just burn them all. You get a G, right? You get a GM card. And then you go to a match and then you have these A-class dudes beating you. It's like, yeah. So it's just a matter of that, like where do you really want to be? Do you think by shooting classifiers can you reach it? Sure, but can you do match performance as a G? That's a whole nother level. And
that is always extending too. We've talked about that.
It's a moving target.
Yeah,
no pun intended.
Because it's all dudes are getting better, and you're like prime example of what we've talked about on the podcast before is younger guys coming in, and who was your first class, like major class that you took?
It was that Winter Paradise with Joe Farewell, Donovan Moore, and Velux.
Yeah, I mean, like, you got 3 of the country's top shooters right there in class, and that's this dude's first actual major training class. Yeah. That's the skill level that's out there and that people have access to is better than it's ever been, and probably in like its golden era whenever you look at like everything out there, like where we're at competition gear wise, and then like military side of it too, getting involved in it. It's like we're like in the golden age of training here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Agreed.
And just like the access to matches too. Like there's so many places you can go shoot a match.
You can shoot a match every day of the week in the Houston area.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it's a big area.
Yeah, it's a
like,
huge
right. Like if you don't mind
Houston
driving,
area, not Houston proper.
Yeah, like in the Houston area.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, there's a match, a USPSA match of some sort, every night.
That's awesome.
Like it's crazy. If you wanted to drive, you can drive. Like if you've got the time and the money and the ammo.
I guess pretty much like 2 hours from wherever you are in Houston area, you can go and be at a match.
Yeah. Yeah. Almost every weekend too, you can find a match in the Houston area. We're pretty lucky.
That's pretty awesome, man. I mean, in Orlando, we do have matches, but it's not every day. There's one match that I have to drive an hour and a half to Clearwater. It's called the WAC. It's like a there's 4 stages, and they're all very hoser-like stages. They're very close targets. Like the furthest one, I think, is like 15 yards. So everything is just hosing, right? Then that's every Tuesday, Friday, and the third Sunday of the month. Then there's this one match that it's just for like beginners. It's Orlando Gun Club, and I like to go there because I use it as a way for me to, show what I'm capable of and get students who are interested to like take the class and like, because they see me shoot and they're like, oh dude, how do you do this? How do you do this? Or, are you an instructor? I'm like, yeah, I teach over here. And then that's how I put myself out there as well. So that's the one reason I do that match. But for like actually competitive, it's the WAC, the one that I was talking about in Clearwater. There's one in Volusia. They have Steel Challenge and other stuff that is also good for training. And they used to have this other one right next to the Orange County Sheriff's Office that is called Central Florida Rifle and Pistol Club. But I guess that the guys that were actually running the matches, they're not doing it anymore because they weren't getting the help that they needed. Mm-hmm. So, but there's a lot of matches going around, but not like here, man. Every day, I wish I had that.
We used to have the guys from Dissident Arms, Michael and Lan. They would come and shoot the Sunday night match that we had at Saddle after they shot another match. They would shoot a Sunday match somewhere in the Houston area, and then on their way back, they would stop and shoot that match at Saddle and then be done. So they'd shoot 2 matches in one day.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's pretty lit. How many stages? 2 matches in one day, man?
That's a lot. Well, I mean, we'd have 5 or 6 stages at Saddle set up. And so they'd shoot 5 or 6 stages there, and then whatever they shot during the day. Because around here, like especially in the summertime, your matches are usually over just a little past, a little after lunch. if
Oh,
not
yeah.
before, because they try to get them in and out and done before it gets super hot. So because it
I
gets
know.
hot.
really
Yeah.
fast.
Tell me about it. I live in Florida.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're in Orlando,
Yeah,
so
y'all
you
just
know.
have more alligators there. It's
Dude,
hot.
here I don't. It's not as humid here, right? I don't. In the
I don't
summer,
know, man.
Yeah,
It
it's
gets
I don't
pretty.
know.
It's pretty humid.
So I did a class, or not, went out and trained with Ruben from Paradox and some
Oh,
other
yeah,
people. And we drove to Florida, and, you know, I'm checking the weather, and I'm like, oh, it's 85 degrees. Like, no big deal. We got out there, literally as soon as we got out of the truck, just sopping wet. I said, oh my God. And one of the guys had an Arctic freeze cooler, and I kind of like lived over there, solid red. I was like, man, I thought Texas was bad.
Florida's gnarly,
Yeah.
dude. And it's not just that. It's like when I go to matches and I shoot for concealment. So guess what? I have to
Yeah.
grab my shirt wet.
Yeah.
So as soon as I grab my shirt wet, it's just like my shock goes, and there goes my shock. So now I'm gripping the gun and I'm slipping away, because the grip, like the lock grips, is just for the gun. But when I grip this hand, it starts
Yeah.
Yeah.
slipping.
Yeah, I always have to.
Very uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's why I always put the chalk on
I do-
the outside of the
yeah.
fingers, because that's where it mates up is where you need a lot of the grip. The
Yeah.
skin to skin. The skin to gun isn't as bad, but the skin to skin
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
gets slippery.
So just within like the greater Houston area, let's call it 2 hours, because I mean, realistically, Galveston's greater Houston area,
Right.
right? 10 different USPSA certified clubs.
Nice.
10 different clubs in
That's
the
awesome.
Houston area. Yeah, that's crazy.
So what do you have next on the schedule? What's coming up?
So I have Orlando on the 16th, and then I'm closing out with Miami. I have 21st, 22nd, 23rd, and 24th in Miami.
Oh wow.
Yeah, Miami is big for me. I used to live there, so
Okay.
I have a lot of guys there that they just love coming once a month.
Yeah. What classes are you teaching?
So it's for there. It's like my reoccurring guys. So I teach just performance and the drills,
Right.
and then I have a couple of privates that I just tailor to them to what they want. So
Do you do any low light?
I do not. My first, well, it's not gonna be me teaching it. In February 2nd, you guys know Kyle Manzano Tactical.
Name sounds
I've heard the
familiar.
name, yeah.
Yeah, he's part of the Howitzer guys.
Okay, that's probably where.
Yeah, so he's coming into. We're doing a collab class. I'm teaching pistol all day. He's teaching rifle, but then we added like a bonus for the Saturday night to do low light. So it was my first time. I've done low light before, but I've never been involved in the teaching aspect
Right.
of it. So I'm stoked to have it.
It'll
gonna
be
be lit.
fun. It'll be fun. So where can people find you on the
Social media. So I'm on Instagram as tactical.santi. I like to say, because it's kind of a joke, there's nothing tactical about what I do. Right? It's just the fact that I shoot for concealment. But back in the day when I made that account, it was like, it sounded cool,
Yeah,
like
oh yeah.
Tactical Santi, So I made it that way, but then now it's actually become a joke. Like,
Yeah.
people was like, oh, so like I actually had some people like cops like, hey man, do you know any, do you guys you teach tactics? I'm like, yeah, no, dude, I have no idea anything about tactics. Oh, okay, I just thought because I saw your hat, tactical or whatever. I'm like, yeah, no.
Yeah, there's a funny story, like Scott from Modern Samurai. You know Scott,
Yeah, yeah.
taking a class with him. A friend of ours, Jim Dexter. Hi, Jim. They were at a police range probably up there in Illinois where Jim is, and part of the range requirement was you had to wear soft armor or whatever, like to be on the range or whatever. So like Jim took a picture and was like, Modern Samurai intro into breaching or something, like
small unit room clearing tactics or something.
And like people lost their freaking mind. They're like, Scott, he's not a cop, he doesn't know anything about this, or like and it was just like a joke, but yeah, the internet lost their mind over
People
that.
take it, some of it, I mean, it's serious, but like that instance is like, you take it way too seriously. Like, why is Scott wearing body armor?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
'cause, like,
Yeah.
he's teaching on a police range that requires
part of the
it,
insurance requirements of the
Yeah.
the rules of the range or whatever.
Dude, that's one of the things that I love this industry, but sometimes I feel like they're very harsh.
Right.
Like their critiques is like hard. Like sometimes I really hesitate to put stuff out there on media, because I'm like, are they gonna come at me? Because you have instructors.
Oh yeah.
You have instructors posting things about teaching and like the way they do things or whatever, and then they have other ones just post another video, just like ditching this dude because it's teaching the wrong things or whatever, and it just sucks to be that. Like I just feel like there has to be a way to like work together.
Like the whole CTT and centrifuge, Will Petty and Noner controversy is just like it's just like it's so much drama. It's like, why can't we just get along?
Yeah, or just keep it like personal. Like reach out to the dude. Like don't put it on social media.
Yeah, don't drag everybody else into it.
Yeah, but hate clicks are clicks, man.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like that's how it is. Like people are just looking for clout, I guess, or not just clout, but like I don't know. I feel like if somebody had anything to say about anything I do, I would rather have them reach out to me personally.
Yeah.
And just post something, because I'm not that dude that's gonna make a video replying to what you said. Like, no,
got other stuff going on, more important things.
Yeah, I just don't want to fall into that game.
Yeah. Well, dude, we definitely appreciate your time today, and you came in. So you came in 2 days, basically 2 days early before the class.
Yeah.
Almost missed the flight here.
I know, dude. It sucked, but yeah.
Yeah, and your ammo didn't show up, but we got you. We got you covered.
Yeah.
We got you covered on that. But we really appreciate you, man. Really appreciate it, and looking forward to your class. I'm gonna see if I can talk to wifey into letting me out of the house.
Yeah, man, you should
on Sunday.
Make it, man. It's gonna be fun. And thank you guys for having me. Honestly, just the stuff that you guys do and being able to come here and teach, it's awesome. And not just me, like just having instructors come in and teach the community out here, it's huge. So I really do appreciate what you guys are doing.
Thank you. Tara, thank you for your time. Thanks for hooking us up.
Absolutely.
Schedule.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it. And if you've watched this whole entire episode, I can't tell you the amount of energy that's in the room right now. Dude.
That's why
really
we do
cool.
in-person. That's why we do in-person podcasts.
Yeah.
You get a lot. You get to like feel.
I mean, it's not like Joe Rogan energy, but I mean, it's there.
It's there. Right. It's almost there. Just
there.
below.
Just a little bit below. But if you've watched this whole time, appreciate it. Check out Santi. Check out Tactical Santi on Instagram. We'll put all his links to classes and everything. Look for him if you're in the local area. Hopefully in April when he comes back, sign up for the class and hit us up in the comments. Appreciate it.